That's right, you read the title. Hey gamers, it's G from the corner, and I have never played Final Fantasy VII. Now, it's funny. If you said this many, many years ago, this would be sacrilege. You would be labeled a fake gamer to some. I'm someone who tries to play as many video games as possible. I try to expand my horizons constantly, always giving games a chance that have even remotely interesting features or concepts to myself, but I'm not much of an RPG person, and I've never actually played any Final Fantasy game before, let alone what is easily the most popular game in the series, and what may still be one of the most popular RPGs of all time, Final Fantasy VII. Maybe not so much nowadays. I mean, obviously it still is an extremely, extremely popular game, but I feel like gaming has evolved so much, and so many other games have come out and taken the mantle of genre or even medium defining from it, but this game is still held in very, very high regard. I mean, it was the first JRPG to really find major success in the West. This game is so iconic to so many people, and yet I've never touched it. Okay, that's technically a lie. I actually bought a copy of this game like years and years and years ago at a local game shop and played like the first hour of it on a PS1, but never really progressed much further than that. I bought it about a year ago because it was on sale for like $8 and figured, hey, whenever I've got some time, I'll play through the thing, and that time came in April of this year while I was waiting for the Nintendo Switch 2. There wasn't really anything coming out that I was super interested in for the coming months, so I figured, let's just sit down and knock this one out, and knock it out I did. Yes, I have finally played a Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy VII. After years of hearing about it, hearing people talk about it, seeing characters from it appear in many crossovers like Smash Bros., I finally played it, and you know what? It's pretty good. I don't really think I need to explain the plot of Final Fantasy VII to anyone watching this video. I mean, like, basic Spark Notes is that you play as a guy, Cloud Strife, former soldier member. He's part of a rebellion group. They're trying to save the planet. There's a guy named Sephiroth who shows up. He's the main villain. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything else because that's giving away too much. I knew most of these plot points, though, going into the game. So the, I guess, big moments for me were more of the character-driven ones, seeing how the characters talk and interact and bounce off of each other. And honestly, I like the cast, but they're not all 100% winners for me, okay? I guess I'll go into slight spoilers, not really. If you're watching this video, I feel like you already know this. Aerith, one of the main characters in the game, dies a bit over halfway through it, and, it's a big, sad, dramatic moment. I feel like this is one of those classic, like, everybody knows this happens. You're playing the game for the first time in 2025, you probably know this happens. Granted, one of my coworkers didn't know this happened, and I spoiled that rotten to her, and that was very, very funny. But otherwise, I feel like you should know that Aerith dies in Final Fantasy VII. I did not get the optional party members, Yuffie and Vincent, for reasons that will become obvious as I talk more about this game. And so the finale kind of became just Tifa and the goons. You got Tifa and the headstrong guy, the really misogynist guy, the weird robot guy, and the dog. It kind of became hard to take the gang seriously, but that's also partially my fault. I mean, I still cared about most of them. Obviously, Cloud and Tifa's history with each other, very engaging, and I really love the two of them. As a couple, I ship it. I mean, like, it's pretty clear that that's the direction they're heading in, but they don't really outwardly commit to it, which is fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Barrett, he always has a good motivation, and his entire, side thing with his town and how he blames himself, and, just that whole arc was pretty fun. Red 13, he's got his grandfather in the Cosmo Canyon, and Cat Sith was kind of okay, mostly I've just liked Cloud and Tifa, I'll be real. I'm sure I would like Yuffie and Vincent if I got them. I mean, maybe not, I don't know. One of my friends told me Yuffie's kind of a whatever character in the remake, but this isn't the remake, this is the original, so That being said, I think it all comes together in the end. Everybody feels really, motivated towards defeating Sephiroth at the end of the game, and it really does feel kind of triumphant and impactful when you're reaching those final moments. So it all kind of pays off in the end, although, I just kind of wish I liked the characters a little more, but I feel like maybe it's just a me thing, honestly. One thing that I do absolutely love, and the thing that always made me want to check out this game, was just the world and atmosphere and environment. Obviously Midgar is floundered around everywhere when people talk about FF7. It's really not that big of a part of this game, but it does leave a very, very strong impression. And some of the other locales you go to, like I mentioned, the Cosmo Canyon earlier, the Gold Saucer, places like those really just create this mood and atmosphere. The game, it's a late 90s RPG, it does the whole 2D JPEG backgrounds while you're playing as 3D models, but it's got that like early pre-rendered look, and it just creates this vibe combined with Nobuo Uematsu's amazing score, which is, I love his score. I love his work. It really takes you back to that Square 90s RPG vibe. But not just trying to say that this is a great thing because it is a time capsule harkening back to an era that I was never around for. The atmosphere does really work for me, seeing these people talk about Shinra, how Shinra Corporation has this like stranglehold over Midgard, yet you venture outside and, they're there, the people deal with them, but it's not like they literally control everything. I mean, they do to an extent, but it's just this like interesting, fun commentary. It gets a little political. I kind of like it. I always like those political undertones with this game, It's not like that overbearing, which honestly I wouldn't even mind if it was a bit harder on the messaging, but it was the late 90s. What did you expect? All right, they got to make room for the mini games. I hate the mini games. They're all really annoying and play really, really badly. The snowboarding one sucks. The chocobo racing sucks. The bike thing sucks. I hate all of them. I hate every single one of them, and I groaned whenever one came up on screen. And I suppose that leads me to the gameplay itself. Okay, this is going to be a hard pill for everyone to swallow. I don't like the gameplay of Final Fantasy VII, mainly the combat. The moment-to-moment area exploration is, it's just kind of you moving around an area. It's kind of hard to screw that up. Maybe, some areas are a little confusing because it's obviously a pre-rendered thing, but you're just kind of moving and, the character will re-angle itself depending on the collision boxes that were programmed into an area. But, it's, easy enough to maneuver yourself around. The actual combat itself is just completely atrocious. There's this limit system, so instead of being turn-based, when you attack, you have to wait for a bar to fill up for you to attack again. So enemies will kind of keep attacking you, and it'll get really annoying because, you'll just get hit by an attack, and then an enemy's invisible limit bar will fill up before yours does, and they'll attack you again, and then yours will fill up, and then you'll attack, but then sometimes you won't be able to press the button. Now, how did I make it through the game if I hate the combat so much, to the point where I really didn't engage with much of the stat changing other than, oh, there's a shop here, I should buy the most powerful stuff and buy some random materia to fill in my slots? Well, I was playing, like I said, on the Switch. I don't think I mentioned that earlier, actually. I was playing the Switch version of the game, which is just the updated PC and modern console version of the game. I was playing that version, and in that version, if you click the left stick, you can speed the game up by 3 times, and if you click the right stick, you'll be healed every single turn of combat. I immediately turned on fast forward. The game runs extremely, extremely slowly. Oh my goodness. I don't know how people played through this back in the 90s, but wow, is it slow because of all the damn models and how just unoptimized the game was for its original hardware. But later in the game, I did kind of just turn on the God mode because I didn't want to have to redo boss fights that were taking too long. Look, man, it's really silly for me to say this because, again, I don't... I can't knock a game like this for that because, that's the whole game. That's the entire gameplay system. I just don't really like it that much, but I'm happy that this version exists because for people like me who are losers and fake gamers, I can at least experience the narrative and the vibes of the game. I guess that's it, really. I love the vibes of Final Fantasy VII. Which definitely sounds like sacrilege to anyone over 30, but, I don't know, man. I thought it was fun. I don't regret doing this. It's something that's definitely outside of my usual fare, but it's something that I felt like I had to experience at some point in my life, and, the time just ended up lining up. I had the time to do it, and I figured let's just sink my teeth into it, and you know what? I don't regret it. I thought it was a fun enough time, and I managed to enjoy the experience in my own way, even if that way is probably not the way that was originally intended by the developers. If I tell true fans of the game that I played it that way, they'd probably look at me funny, but whatever, I don't care, I had fun. Honestly, I kind of want to play other games in the series at some point. I've kind of been intrigued in trying 8. I don't know, that one also looks to have, I guess, vibes that I kind of jive with, and I also want to play 16. 16's been one I've been eyeing for a while. It just got more engaging gameplay, being an action RPG instead of a traditional turn-based RPG. So, I've been kind of wanting to try that out for a while, but we'll see if I end up getting around to it sooner or later. Point is, FF7 is a good game. If you don't like RPGs, I even implore you to try it. Just, to get the vibes and understand why people like these games so much. I mean, maybe you won't if you don't like the gameplay or the story. I at least like the story, so I was able to enjoy finally thoroughly experiencing that. But, oh well, what are you going to do, I had my fun with the game. I sunk in a nice fat 25. I think it was about 24, 25 hours it took me to see the final boss, considering how much I was fast forwarding combat. But I enjoyed what I played. and I do not regret it, and I will probably try more in the future. But yeah, that's about it. Bit of an off-topic one. I just wanted to talk about something I was playing a few months ago and kind of felt like now was the time to do it. Keep yourselves cornered for more like this and also topical things and Nintendo things and all the good stuff. You know what you're here for. You know what you subscribed for or haven't. If not, subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.